Okay, so welcome everyone. Tonight I have a special guest with me. His name's Ryan Montis, and Ryan is a board designated trainer of NLP, which is Neurolinguistic Programming, and he's a hypnosis trainer. And I'm so glad that you're with me today to talk to us about hypnosis and NLP, especially in relation to health and wellness. And so for those listeners who don't know who I am, I'm Tina Haller, and I'm a health and wellness coach. And I coach my clients from the inside out. So making sure that the three pillars of health, emotional, physical, and mental, are all in alignment and they're all balanced. And so I had the incredible fortune to meet Ryan when we were in LA last year, right about this time, just before COVID hit last year. We were both at the same summit. We were at a coaching summit and realized that we lived very close to each other. We're both in the Greater Toronto area. So that was cool. So we kept in contact, and I realized that Ryan was a trainer and did all of these amazing courses, you know, in NLP and hypnosis. And so I decided to take one of his hypnosis classes. And it was top notch. Like, it was amazing because the way Ryan teaches is it's very experiential. So it's very hands-on. You learn as you go so that when you get out of the class, you can start applying it right away to your clients, which was really, really beneficial. And so I loved it so much that I went back and did the NLP class as well, the course, because I've always been intrigued by NLP as well, and I knew the quality of course that you provide, so I knew it was going to be a good experience again, and of course it was. So I appreciate you being here with us. And one thing you know that I notice with clients is, you know, when they come to me, they're very good at knowing that they need to exercise more, they need to eat better. But they really don't pay much attention to the mental and the emotional side. And so that's why hypnosis and NLP intrigued me so much, because I would argue that that's even more important to ensuring that you have overall health. You know, all the modalities that NLP has to offer, the timeline therapy, the parts integration, and many, many others, plus the hypnosis, are all amazing modalities that can get results really quickly. And then most people, you know, time is an issue, right? So the faster that they can get results, even better. We're also a very impatient society. So again, the faster you get results, the better. So these are really good tools to have in my toolkit. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I would agree, Tina. Yeah, and by the way, and thanks for having me here on the interview today. Thank you for inviting me. And yeah, I would totally agree. You know, whatever place a person is at in their life, whatever, you know, circumstance they find themselves in, and if it, you know, if we're talking about health and wellness, if they find themselves not the weight they want to be, or not, you know, feeling the way they want to feel, it's a result of all the, you know, everything they've done in their life up until that point, every decision that they've made. And most of that is actually, you know, as you pointed out, controlled by what's going on outside of the conscious awareness. Because consciously, we know, everybody knows that we should eat well, and, you know, we should be active. Everybody knows that. There's nobody that doesn't know that these days. So why are there people who, you know, just are not doing that, who are making choices that don't give them that life that they want? And it's because of what's going on outside of their conscious awareness, for sure.
Yeah. So I wondered if you could just kind of explain maybe how hypnosis and how NLP can help with, you know, weight loss goals and improving vitality.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that, you know, NLP and hypnosis would help is that NLP and hypnosis are, you know, the best tools for accessing what's going on in the unconscious mind. So what's going on outside of conscious awareness. And whatever programming is running outside of our conscious awareness, deep in our unconscious, or you might call it your subconscious mind, whatever programming is running in there is going to be reflected in a person's results in life. And whether that result is in maintaining, an overweight status, or increasing their weight, or being unable to lose weight, or being unable to reach their health goals, whatever that programming is at the unconscious level is what's going to be reflected in their results in life. Everybody, deep in their mind has what's called, a self-image. Your unconscious mind has this, idea of what you're supposed to look like, what you're supposed to feel like, what your life is supposed to be like. And it may be different. And in many people, it is different than, your conscious, desire, right? We may consciously want to be a certain weight or what we perceive to be thin, right? Or we may consciously want to be, have a certain BMI or certain, muscle percentage or whatever, the important measurement is to you. But unconsciously, it could be a totally different story. Unconsciously, we might think, I'm supposed to be this size, or I'm supposed to have this level of activity. And, really the secret with hypnosis and NLP is to bring those two things into alignment, is to make whatever the conscious goal is reflected in the unconscious mind, because on a long enough timeline, the unconscious programming always wins. The unconscious programming always wins. In our conscious mind, we have willpower, and yeah, we can make it a few days or a few weeks, forcing ourselves to diet or forcing ourselves to maintain a certain routine. But it's not going to work, and it's not going to get the results in the long term if the unconscious program doesn't match what we want. And the famous Dr. Milton Erickson said, where there's agreement between the unconscious and the conscious, there are no problems. Where there's disagreement between the conscious and the unconscious, all of our problems exist. And so it's these tools, Tina, hypnosis, NLP, and similar tools that remove those problems by bringing the unconscious and conscious desire, will and programming into alignment.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And, there's a lot of myths around fitness. Fitness is hard, and fitness, it's going to be too time consuming, and or getting healthy is too time consuming. But these are all, as you were saying, just like subconscious programming, limiting beliefs that are preventing us from getting the results that we want. And, what hypnosis and TLT will allow us to do, or timeline therapy, will allow us to do is to speak to that unconscious mind and change the dialogue.
Yes.
Change the dialogue to something that's going to serve us and not hinder us.
Yeah. And, the beautiful thing with, if we're talking about timeline therapy techniques, is there's kind of two sides to the equation when it comes to the unconscious mind. There's all the stuff that, has happened in our past that's installed limiting beliefs, or we may have unresolved negative emotions. And there's what we want to, happen in the future. And when we're working with the unconscious mind, we want to factor in both of those sides of the equation, because there may be limiting beliefs or unresolved negative emotions from the past that are impacting us now and limiting our behavior and limiting our choices. Or, the unconscious mind may not have a clear direction that it wants to move in. It may not have, that self-image that it wants to honor and respect and fulfill might be off target. And we need to, cover all of our bases and acknowledge both of these sides of the equation. And when we combine, timeline therapy, which has more to do with, stuff in the past, it's more of a hypnotic or a regression, or you may call it a Gestalt technique. And we combine that with, regular hypnotic processes and NLP, which we can use to install our vision or goal for the future at the unconscious level, then results can begin to take shape very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, true. So who would you think, because not like hypnosis and these techniques are not good for everyone. So who would you say would be a good candidate for this type of a modality?
Yeah. So, it's true that, these techniques are not ideal for everyone. The funny thing is, the interesting thing is, as long as you have a human brain, these techniques technically will work, right? They're always effective, but there are a couple of prerequisites. The potential client needs to submit to the process. They need to surrender to the process. They need to accept that, they've not yet found the solution, and here's the solution. So compliance with instructions would be one of the big prerequisites. Somebody who's going to come in and see somebody like yourself who's trained in hypnotherapy, trained in NLP, they need to be willing to do what you say. Now, you're not going to ask them to do anything ridiculous or overly difficult, but they need to be open-minded, right? They need to follow your instructions. If you, Tina, ask them to imagine something, they need to actually imagine it, right? And so on and so forth. All the different processes in hypnosis. So I would say, Do these processes work on anyone? Yes. Who's most likely to get the best results? People who are ready for change, people who are ready to accept responsibility for their own change, and people who realize that they have the power within them already to make all the changes that they want to in life. It's just a matter of activating those natural processes, going to somebody who knows how to do that in an expedient manner, and allowing that to happen.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And I came across a study, actually. It was a study of 60 patients who were assigned to hypnosis treatment versus just a control, like no treatment. And they found over, after 6 months, that those people that had hypnosis treatment, whether it be using an audio hypnosis or an actual hypnosis session, lost 17 pounds compared to the control group that lost only a half a pound.
Yeah.
Which is quite remarkable.
Yeah, the success rate with when we use unconscious mind tools such as hypnosis or timeline therapy techniques or NLP, the success rate for people who follow the instructions and all that good stuff is very high. We have an industry average of over 90% success with hypnotherapy and with NLP. It's quite substantial. It's quite incredible.
Yeah. And why do you think that it's not like that popular? You don't hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I want to lose weight. I'm going to go get hypnosis done. I'm going to get timeline therapy done." Doesn't seem to be a go-to therapy to do at this moment. Why do you think that is?
You know what? That's just the nature of human beings, right? It's just the nature of human beings. We tend to do what's familiar, even if it doesn't work, right? And what's familiar, in our society is, the diets that we see on TV, or this idea that, if I want to reach my fitness goals, I just need to buckle down and use willpower and eat better and exercise more, and all this stuff. These are the beliefs that have been perpetuated organically in the social consciousness. And hypnosis is something that's different. It's something that's outside of the mainstream for most people. And so that's why it's just like, even though the results are much better and much more powerful, I think it's just not considered as often. But there has been a shift. Since about the 70s, and this time where people really started to see self-development and self-improvement as something that is, in fact, it is important, and something that is worth exploring and doing. The viability and popularity of hypnosis has risen steadily, right? Every year more people become trained hypnotherapists. Every year more people are seeking the help of hypnosis experts. And I think there's actually a lot more people out there, sort of in your niche, in your world, who have been successful at losing weight, or been successful at becoming more healthy with hypnosis, and they're just not talking about it because it sounds a little strange. It sounds a little weird. Imagine being around the water cooler and somebody asks you at work, and somebody says, "Well, how did you lose all the weight?" And you say, "Oh, well, I saw a hypnotist and they reprogrammed my mind to make the pounds just shed off, and it felt automatic and easy," right? So it's not, it's much easier to just say, "Oh, well, I changed this and that in my life," right?
Right. Yeah. It does sound a little woo-woo.
I'd say it can sound that way, even though it's very much based, as you mentioned that study, and there's countless studies like that. Hypnotherapy was studied at Yale University in the United States. It's something that's been proliferated by medical doctors for hundreds of years. The science is all there, but yeah, it has that sort of mystical woo feel to it, which I think, puts some people off, or if they do use it, then they might be reluctant to talk about it for fear of being judged, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And also there's a lot more research done on the mind-body connection, especially in the last 20 years, that, they're really starting to realize the power of the mind, and how it can really influence your inner health, your gut health, and your hormones. All of that can be really affected by the mind. So having these tools that can get to change that dialogue within the mind can be very powerful to healing the body.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, in the last 20 years, The research has come a long way, you know, research into the role that neurotransmitter plays in the body, and how the mind interacts with the body via the nervous system. And yeah, truly, we can have a profound effect on what's going on in our body just with the use of our mind and our imagination, and the faculties that we, you know, already have been gifted with as human beings, for sure, for sure.
And even with goal setting, like just being able to envision the goal into the future, and do hypnosis on that, like projecting it into the future, and projecting and being in that goal as if it's occurring for you right now, like that ability to be able to use these modalities to really kind of, you know, to really narrow down those goals, and make them a reality instead of just something we throw out there, but it's something that actually we can easily easily get for ourselves, is pretty powerful too.
Yeah, that is a very powerful process, very powerful technique that you're describing. And the reason for that is that, you know, there's such a way that using hypnosis and using, you know, as you're trained in TLT techniques, you can install a goal at the unconscious level in such a way that your unconscious mind will move around resources and realign neurology to make certain that that goal becomes a reality for you, right? Or to at least do everything in its power to allow that to happen, which is very different than just putting a goal on a vision board or putting a goal down on paper. When you actually program your mind to become, you know, to become what some people call the servo mechanism, or to become the guided missile, so that as you know, as you're moving forward in life, unconsciously you're automatically making decisions and taking choices and thinking and feeling in such a way that's most likely to bring you directly to that goal. It's quite powerful.
Yeah, that was well said. I like that.
Thank you.
Good. So before we close out, is there anything else that you think the viewers would be interested in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're looking to make a profound change in your life and you're looking to improve your health, whether it's via losing weight and becoming your ideal weight, or whatever your definition of perfect health is, here's the secret. If you could have done it on your own, you would have done it by now. If you could have figured it all out on your own, you would have figured it out by now, and it would not be a problem. So you can save yourself time, money, and energy by choosing not to hold on to this problem any longer, by going to an expert like Tina Haller. Tina Haller knows her stuff. You know, she's been trained by me, but we've also been fellow students on other training as well. I've had the opportunity to learn alongside her and to train her. And, you know, she knows her stuff. And stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Stop trying to figure everything out on your own. Go to the expert, get the solution, and, you know, get this part of your life taken care of, so you can focus on the other stuff that you want to do with your life. And Tina has the tools to make that happen. So I strongly recommend, highly recommend Tina Haller if, you know, if this is something that you're serious about changing in your life.
Well, thank you for that, Ryan.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, so if anybody is interested in learning how to do the hypnosis and all the NLP techniques, reach out to Ryan. If you know, I'll reach out to me, and then I'll get you in contact with Ryan. And then if anybody has wants to talk further about this, get more details on it, certainly reach out to me as well. So thank you so much, Ryan, for being with us, showing us your wisdom, and it's been. I always keep learning from you, so it was informative as well as a nice chat with you. So thank you.
You're very welcome, Tina, and thank you again for inviting me to you know, participate in this interview. I really appreciate it. I wish you the best, and to all of your clients, I wish them the best as well.
Okay, thank you. Awesome.
Yeah.